Solo Leveling. Solo Leveling isn't just another action-packed fantasy anime. It's a story of transformation, survival, and an overwhelming ascent to power. But it's also mediation on what happens when that power begins to overtake your humanity, with stunning visuals, intense battles, and a protagonist who embodies the classic underdog rises to greatness trope. Solo Leveling is one of the most talked about shows in recent years, but does it live up to the hype? Let's break it down. The premise of Solo Leveling is straightforward. In a world where portals to monster-filled dungeons open randomly, society has relied on hunters to protect civilians. These hunters are ranked, with S ranks at the top, wielding immense power. But then there's Jin-Woo, an E rank hunter, the weakest of the weak. He's struggling, barely able to keep himself and his sister afloat, as well as his sick mother, who is currently in a coma. Furthermore, seen as a liability by even his fellow hunters. After an ill-fated dungeon raid, Jin-Woo is left for dead in a double dungeon, but in a miraculous twist of fate, he is chosen by a mysterious system, a game-like interface that grants him the ability to level up like a video game character. With no clear explanation, no one else can see it, but Jin-Woo has access to a set of quests, stats, and the ability to grow in power at an exponential rate. What was once a liability now becomes the world's greatest weapon. What really elevates Solo Leveling is its sense of progression. Jin-Woo's transformation from the weakest hunter into one of the most powerful beings in this world is incredibly satisfying. The power scaling is handled masterfully. Each time he gains a new skill or defeats a tough boss, you can feel it, and that progression never feels unearned. Every new ability, every new weapon, every new boss fight is a logical step forward in his journey. Jin-Woo's ability, the power to summon shadows of fallen enemies, adds a unique tactical element to the story. He doesn't just fight with raw power, he builds an army, a literal legion of shadows, to aid him in his battles. These shadows don't just serve as mindless tools, they come with their own personalities and backstories, which adds emotional weight to Jin-Woo's decisions and victories. They're a living testament to the growth and sacrifice he's gone through. The action scenes are where Solo Leveling truly shines. Each battle is packed with tension, and the choreography is excellent, whether it's Jin-Woo fighting a lone dungeon boss or engaging in large-scale, world-threatening battles. The stakes feel monumental. The animation style, especially in these moments, is fluid and striking. You can practically feel the weight of Jin-Woo's every strike as he cuts through enemies with precision and power. But it's not just the action that keeps you hooked, it's the world building. As Jin-Woo gains power, the world around him becomes more intricate. We're introduced to powerful guilds, rising political tensions between nations, and the growing threat of S-rank monsters. This global scale elevates the plot from a personal story of growth to a high-stakes battle for the fate of humanity itself. One of the strongest parts of Solo Leveling is its character design. Every new character, whether they're a hunter, guild leader, or dungeon boss, comes with a distinct personality and backstory. This adds richness to the narrative, making even secondary characters feel important. You can see the clear effort made to flesh out these figures, each of them standing out, whether it's their character design or their roles within the story. However, no show is perfect, and Solo Leveling the anime is no exception. One of its key weaknesses lies in pacing. In the first season, the story moves at a reasonable pace. It's focused and methodical, introducing us to Jin-Woo's journey and the world around him. But as the story progresses, especially in season 2, the pacing starts to feel rushed. The introduction of powerful factions and guilds that could drive larger plot arcs are sometimes resolved too quickly. Without the depth they deserve, this can make the world feel a bit shallow at times, especially considering the grand scale the show is trying to achieve. Another issue is character development. Outside of Jin-Woo, many other characters feel underdeveloped. Take Cha-hae-in for example. Introduced as a major character, she plays an important role early on, but as the series progresses, she seems to lose her relevance. The narrative mainly focuses on Jin-Woo's ascent, but many of the side characters are sidelined in favor of the spectacle. This results in a lack of emotional depth in key moments, making certain events feel less impactful than they could be. The world building, while solid at times, is also one of the areas where the show stumbles. As the story expands, we are introduced to global conflicts and the wider ramifications of Jin-Woo's actions, but these elements feel somewhat rushed. The intricacies of different guilds, the political landscape between countries, and the supernatural forces at play aren't explored as thoroughly as they could have been. The show sets up a much larger conflict, but doesn't fully dive into the world building to make it feel as immersive as it should be. The villains in Solo Leveling often feel like monsters of the week, especially after Jin-Woo gains significant power. While this can be thrilling, it sometimes reduces the suspense and stakes of the battle. However, characters like Baru bring a real sense of danger and impact, especially in the Jeju Island raids. What makes Baru stand out isn't just his strength, it's who he defeats. The Korean S-rank hunters, the very best of the nation has to offer, falls one by one. These aren't nameless side characters, but major players who have dominated past battles. By defeating them, Baru doesn't just raise the tension, he restores it. His presence turns the fight into something more than just another win for Jin-Woo. It becomes a real test, one with weight, fear, and consequences. Solo Leveling is an anime that gets a lot right. Its action, visual style, and pacing during combat are all top-notch. The concept of Jin-Woo's transformation from a weak, struggling hunter to a force of overwhelming power is one that keeps you invested in his story. The show's visuals, especially the stunning use of lighting, combat effects, and shadow powers, makes every fight sequence a spectacle. That said, the show's pacing issues, underdeveloped characters, underwhelming villains, and rushed world building prevents it from reaching its full potential. For fans of power fantasies and visually stunning anime, Solo Leveling is a thrilling ride, but for those looking for a more layered narrative with rich character development and world building, it may fall short. In the end, I'll give Solo Leveling a 7.5 out of 10. Solo Leveling delivers an exciting and powerful viewing experience with some notable flaws. It's a show that rewards fans of action and growth, but leaves room for improvement in the story's deeper elements. If you're looking for high energy battles and a protagonist who becomes a legend, this series is definitely worth your time. Let me know your thoughts. Did Solo Leveling live up to your expectations? And if you're into detailed, honest anime breakdowns, make sure to follow for more. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.